Nina and Ava catch up over lunch at Metro Court Pool. Rick goes by with Liz and Ava loses her appetite. Nina admits she despises Rick as well, but she secretly hired him to help Willow, and he claims to have taken her case pro gratis. Ava learns important information. Liz and Rick eat lunch, and she praises his compassion toward Willow. He believes that his ego is involved because he lost Willow's case, which should have been a slam dunk. Liz eventually has to return to work, but she wants to thank Rick again. Across the hall, Ava believes Liz will be upset if she discovers Rick is the same old liar. Nina claims that no one can know about this, thus she must keep it a secret. Ava agrees, and she must devise a new strategy to destroy Rick and Elizabeth. Will Stella go to jail? Curtis complains to Aurora about Drew abusing his position. Stella says they have to face it. Drew has won and she must accept the consequences of her conduct, even though she did not believe she was doing a crime. Alexis cautions her that she could wind up in prison. Curtis refuses to let that happen to his aunt, and Alexis promises to mount the fiercest defense possible. Martin, are you there as well? When requested to sign Drew's statement by the PCPD, Martin refuses to do so. Drew and Martin meet privately, and the lawyer accuses Drew of stabbing both him and Stella in the back. He tells Drew to keep his dogs away from Stella and offers to sign his statement. Martin realizes Drew won't do it because he can't let go of his animosity for Curtis. Drew claims he's fired, and good luck paying his ex-wives. Martin walks out and informs Turner that he will not be signing the statement since his recollection is foggy. Martin storms out, and Turner informs Drew that the matter is closed. Drew exclaims at Turner that Robert Scorpio would never allow this to happen, and accuses her of being on Sonny's payroll. Drew then yells at Michael, saying that he must be relieved that he got away with assaulting him, and pledges that Willow would have her children back no matter what he has to do or who he has to take down. Drew storms out, and Sonny tells Diane and Michael that he needs a moment alone with Justine. Martin's on the list returning to Aurora. Martin apologizes to Stella, but Drew is to blame for her issues. She already knows. Martin claims Drew has made an adversary out of him, like he has with many others. It appears that we are finally on the verge of someone taking Drew out. What's that accent? Molly is at Bobby's working on her novel and fantasizing. It appears to be set in the 1800s, and she mentions being on the plains. Cowboy Cody prevents Southern Belle Delilha, sometimes known as Molly, from choosing the wrong man, Clint Buchanan. Molly's fantasy is interrupted as she hears the waitress shout Cody's name as he picks up an order. Molly says she was ready to text him and wonders what a horse would do if separated from its buddy. Cody simply states that he does not know and advises you to look it up on Google. He collects his order and swiftly exits. Molly is still working on her novel when Christina stops by and inquires about its progress. Molly expresses her dissatisfaction with her job, and Cody simply ignores her. Christina urges she go it easy on him and informs her about Maxie. Molly regrets misjudging Cody. She claims he's been there for her countless times, and she wishes she could be there for him just once. Schemers out scheming one another back at the pool. Ava approaches Rick and reports that the Shell Corporation appears locked. He emphasizes that it's only for a few days, so she won't draw attention with unnecessary purchases. Christina arrives and Ava storms away. Rick then calls Alexis and encourages her to hurry to the pool. She won't regret it. Tracy sets Brooklyn straight at the Q's stables. Brooklyn enters distraught, and Tracy inquires whether it is Maxie. Brooklyn claims there is no difference, but she feels horrible about not staying in the hospital. She believes Lulu belongs there because she and Maxie have a long history. Tracy tells her she is mistaken. Tracy informs her granddaughter that Maxie, like her, sees the best in Brooklyn and Lulu, and the two are more similar than she realizes. She advises Brooklyn not to let her resentment toward Lulu prevent her from being there for Maxie and her family when they need her. Brooklyn knows she's correct. Lulu opens up to Albrecht and calls a truce at Maxie's when Albrecht describes Maxie being into a coma. Lulu flips out because it brings back unpleasant memories. She had wasted so much time with her kid, which is why she reacted so strongly when she discovered he was looking for information about Britt. She now wonders if her anger was unjustified. Albrecht acknowledges she should have informed her, and Dante that Rocco had sought out to her. Lulu despised the idea of the doctor revealing something with Rocco that she had missed at the time. Lulu insists that even if they reach an agreement, she would never forgive Britt for what she did. Lulu offers to remain with the kids if Albrecht want to visit Maxie. Albrecht praises her and believes Maxie would enjoy it if they talked instead of tearing one another's throats out. Lulu agrees. Brooklyn soon arrives, having noticed Lulu's call. Brooklyn says that she had planned to call her as well. Lulu recalls how Maxie misled them into coming here months ago to negotiate a ceasefire. She wasn't ready then, but she is now if Brooklyn is. When will Maxie wake up? Felicia and Maxie sit together in the hospital. Cody arrives with meals and provides Felicia support. Cody eventually leaves, and Felicia sobs to Maxie about how many people rely on her, and how she serves as the glue that holds their family together. Drew runs into Willow, who doesn't want to see him. He reveals that Michael assaulted him because he told Wiley she missed him, which appears to have affected her. He insists all he wants to do is help her, and he believes Michael is using the system to ensure she never sees her children again. Tracy gives Cody food for thought. Cody returns to the stables and thanks Tracy for assisting around the property. She inquires about Maxie's well-being and that of his family. Cody says that Mac and Felicia are really concerned, and he can't stop thinking about the time he wasted lying to them. Tracy believes regret is a meaningless emotion. He must move forward and learn from this experience. Cody will, and he promises not to tell him any more falsehoods or waste his time. In the show's final moments, Nina arrives at the hospital, hoping to catch a sight of Willow to see how she is doing. Liz advises she use the break room. In the break room, Drew lies again, saying he wanted to tell her about Nina, but she threatened to use McConkey and her political connections against him. He begs her to believe him. Lulu feels Brooklyn left the hospital last night because to their tension. Maxie and her support for the Scorpios are all that matters right now. Brooklyn agrees with her. Who is this Lulu and what did she do with the previous one? Albrecht and Felicia with Maxie. Albrecht delivers flowers to Maxie's room, but does not want to disrupt Felicia's time with her kid. Felicia insists on staying because she is family. Alexis gloats. At the pool, Alexis asks Rick what he wants. He explains that he and Ava have fallen out, which she jokingly believes hurts her heart. Not. He wants one final payment from her, and then they're done. Molly hurries out of Bobby's, unable to stop thinking about Cody, and runs straight into Michael. He wonders what's wrong. She admits, I think I have feelings for Cody. Ava arrives at the stables, where a shirtless and sweating Cody works. She expresses her sorrow about Maxie. He says he was thinking about Ava, and he isn't the good guy she believes he is. Cody appears to be moving away from being the horse's ass he's been lately, pun intended. At the station, Sunny informs Justine that she has made Drew an enemy. She is not afraid of him and believes there is nothing he can do to her because she has nothing to conceal. Sunny departs and discovers Diane waiting outside. The lawyer is aware that he is nurturing Turner. Yet is he working her or is she working him? Stella informs Martin that this is her fault, not his. Curtis claims Drew is to fault and must be stopped. Another threat, and more foreshadowing Drew is in great trouble. Finally, in the hospital, Nina looks into the break room as Drew takes Willow into his arms, promising to return her children. But is Willow merely playing Drew to get what she wants? The General Hospital spoilers for the week of August 25th indicate some twists and turns. Fans should anticipate Jen Sidwell to take matters into his own hands. There is also Drew Kane, who is preparing for his collapse. Plus, Britt Westbourne is harboring a significant secret. But what exactly is going on with her? Continue reading to learn about what happens next week on the ABC soap series. Ava Jerome's scheme. Let us begin with Ava Jerome and Rick Lansing. The two appear to be constantly plotting against each other. Of course, Ava isn't the only one trying to ice her partner out. Rick is doing the same thing, attempting to get out of his dangerous situation. Nina Reeves' plotting is complete, and she will meet with Rick as well. The blonde will certainly be even more determined to help Willow Tate. Carly Spencer did inform her adversary that Willow's losses are on her, so Nina might take a redemptive action for her daughter. Harrison Chase's reconnection. General Hospital spoilers for the week of August 25th indicate that Harrison Chase has recently reconnected with Willow. Although they are merely friends, I could see this leading to an unexpected pregnancy. After all, Brooklyn Quartermain is preoccupied with the events surrounding her loved ones. The more Chase and Willow chat, the closer they will become. Marco Rios will be there to support Lucas Jones in the week of August 25, 2025, due to Maxie Jones' medical issue. It appears that she is in a coma, thus I can imagine Lulu Spencer exploring until she discovers the truth about her friend's condition. After all, Lulu was listening when Lucy Coe defended the products rather than attempting to answer the medical riddle. She wouldn't even allow Brooklyn Quartermain to answer Lucas' inquiries. It's becoming evident that Sidwell made certain that Maxie did not make it to the police station. Plus, Britt is harboring a significant secret in Croatia, and has even alerted someone to an issue there. What is Britt involved in? And may it put Jason in another untenable situation? Justine Turner is dancing dangerously with Drew and Sonny Corinthos, so stay tuned. Lulu stood silently at the edge of the Metro Court terrace, her fingertips tracing the lip of her coffee cup while her thoughts became entangled in an infinite spiral. The Port Charles skyline stretched before her, lights glittering on the Black Sea below, but she barely saw it. Too much had already been lost, too many mistakes had been made, and the weight of it all weighed hard against her chest. For weeks, tensions had grown with everyone around her. Brooklyn, Dante, and even Drew. But something inside her had changed tonight. She couldn't keep harboring this grudge any longer. When Dante left earlier after yet another tense conversation, Lulu realized she needed to make a decision. The rage had lasted long enough, yet it had not resolved anything. It hadn't moved her closer to the life she desired, and it hadn't healed any scars. She could still hear Dante's final words repeating in her mind, the exasperation in his tone stinging harder than she cared to admit. You can't keep holding on to the past, Lulu. At some point, you have to decide whether you want peace or more war. She had repeated that statement over and over until it finally hit something inside her that she hadn't felt in years, her own desire to quit fighting. And that was why she had called earlier, and requested Brooklyn to meet with her tomorrow. A truce wouldn't solve everything, but it was a start. For once, Lulu wanted to take the initiative rather than wait for someone else to do it. Meanwhile, Drew was pacing inside his penthouse, the whiskey in his glass unfinished, his jaw set as he went through his phone for the 100th time, looking for answers that didn't exist. He had played every hand he possessed, but he was still losing. For weeks, he'd been attempting to mend the damage his decisions had caused. His feud with Michael, his fragile silence with Carly, the lies he'd told Willow, and now his tenuous relationship with Valentine. Every path he'd taken had only led him further into quicksand, and tonight, something within him snapped. Earlier that day, Michael had sent a brief, clipped message. "We're done. Don't contact me again." Drew had stared at it for what felt like hours, each phrase hitting like a final nail in their relationship's coffin. He reflected on everything they'd been through, including assisting Michael in protecting Wiley, concealing the family from the SEC scandal, and even standing by his side when the Corinthos empire was on the verge of collapse. Michael had abruptly cut him off totally, but Drew had made his decisions, and deep inside, he knew this was the result of crossing too many lines. He deceived those he cared about, believing he was playing the game better than anybody else, but the truth was that he was simply burning bridge after bridge until nothing remained but ash. Lulu finally left the patio and strolled into the Metro Court, passing several familiar faces from Port Charles. She noticed Carly conversing animatedly with Olivia at the bar and paused for a second, wondering if Carly had heard about her call to Brooklyn. Knowing Carly, the answer was likely yes. Lulu did not approach, however. Now was not the night to revisit past wounds. Instead, she took a long breath and attempted to calm herself. This was supposed to be the start of something new, a letting go of past grievances, but the tension around her reminded her of how delicate everything in this town was. Port Charles had always been a place where secrets became weapons, where one wrong move could bring down an entire family, and Lulu was sick of being caught in the middle. Dante strolled in while she was deep in contemplation, his face unreadable. Their gazes met briefly, and there was something there unspoken, but neither of them stepped closer. There could be time for it later. Lulu simply nodded quietly before heading back toward the exit. Drew slapped his phone down on the counter and drank from the glass he'd been holding for nearly an hour. He despised how bitter it tasted, and how the burn did little to alleviate the pain in his chest. He had worked so hard to make a life for himself after losing everything, but somewhere along the way he had lost sight of what was truly important. Carly warned him. She warned him that the bargains he was making were risky, that trusting Valentine was a mistake, and that playing both sides would only result in someone getting hurt. He dismissed her, confident he could outmaneuver everyone, but Carly was correct. And now he wasn't sure whether he'd even get the chance to make things right with her. A knock on his door interrupted his rambling thoughts. For a brief period, he debated ignoring it, but as the tapping returned, this time louder, he grudgingly opened it to see Willow standing there, her demeanor wary but determined. "Can I come inside?" she asked gently. Drew paused, looking over her shoulder as if expecting Michael to be standing there, but she was alone. "Yeah," he finally replied, standing back. Willow came with her arms crossed, clutching herself firmly as if she were trying not to fall apart. For a moment they simply stared at each other, unsure where to begin. Finally she ended the stillness. "Michael told me what happened," she explained softly. "About the agreement. About everything." Drew breathed sharply, scratching his cheeks. "I'm guessing he didn't leave out any details." "No," Willow said. "He didn't. And I am not here to defend you, Drew. I just..." She trailed off, seeking for the proper words. "I wanted to know why. You've always been someone we could trust, someone who prioritized family. And now it feels like I don't know who you are anymore." Her words hit harder than she intended. Drew gulped hard before speaking, and his voice was raspy. "I didn't do this to harm anyone. I believed I was protecting us. I am protecting you. Michael's safety is my priority. But every decision I took only made everything worse." Willow observed him for a long time, her expression softening somewhat. "I believe that," she finally replied. "However, believing it does not erase what happened. And Michael won't forgive you. Not now." He nodded, his throat tightening. "I know." After a little pause, Willow delicately touched his arm. "You don't need to keep fighting everyone, Drew. You've already lost a lot." Drew collapsed into the couch as she departed, her words running in his thoughts. "Stop before there is nothing left." But it felt like he'd already crossed the line. Later that night, Lulu sat alone in her living room, rehashing her previous discussions and imagining what tomorrow's appointment with Brooke Lynn would bring. She knew it wouldn't be easy. There had been too many nasty words said and too many lines crossed. But she also realized it was necessary. Dante was correct. Holding on to anger had not solved anything, and she was tired of letting bitterness dominate her life. Drew peered out at the city from his penthouse window, the lights blurring as his mind raced. He considered phoning Carly, apologizing, and pleading for one more chance to make things right. But deep down he knew that wasn't how this worked. Some bridges, once burned, could not be reconstructed. Nonetheless, he couldn't ignore the nagging notion that this wasn't the end. There were still moves to be made, secrets hiding beneath the surface in Port Charles, ready to explode. However, the silence tonight felt heavier than usual, as if the entire city was holding its breath, waiting for the next storm to hit. Lulu chose peace, but Drew had already gone too far. And when the repercussions arrived, there would be no one remaining to protect him from the fallout. Because in Port Charles, one reality remained constant. Every ceasefire came at a cost, and every bridge burned left scars that never fully healed.